Anshuman, welcome back. Welcome back. It's the first podcast of 2026. We've taken a little bit of a hiatus. I think the only thing that works in cricket is Goel. So, so it's been a long time since we connected, and we were missing in action for a while.
Yeah.
And today we're going to be discussing people who have been missing in action from international teams when they probably deserve to be there.
Seriously.
We're going to put a song here, insert song here, and you'll realize what this context is all about. So cue to the song coming. After that, we do the recording, right?
ओ बेटा जी, अरे ओ बाबूजी, किस्मत की हवा कभी नरम, कभी गरम, कभी नरम नरम, कभी गरम गरम, कभी नरम गरम नरम गरम, ओ बेटा जी.
Okay, so Anshuman, we're going to talk about people who, as they say, many a slip between the cup and the lip, almost got selected for India duties and then never quite made it there, right? And you had an interesting context of a very interesting to begin with. So you want to talk about that person?
This thought to the forefront is a gentleman called Auqib Nabi from Jammu Kashmir. Now, he's had a fantastic two Ranji seasons, like in the current season, which was a 25-26 season, he finished with 60 odd wickets at a miserly average of 14 plus. He's considered to be the reason why Jammu Kashmir went on to win the Ranji Trophy for the first time. And it was not just a one-off, even in the previous Ranji series, he was the second highest wicket taker with 44 wickets at an equally miserly bowling average. So now you have a guy here who takes wickets, does not give runs. Is a bowler supposed to do anything else? And still he's not made it to the squad for the one-off test series that we have going on against Afghanistan. So just makes me wonder that, what is it that a guy has to do over and above performance? Or is it always that, there is only that much you can do after that, sab Bhagwan ke haath mein, or the stars need to align perfectly for you. Still on Nabi, he's 29 years old. So it's not as though his career is over. But still 29 is the age in which a fast bowler is at his peak. Yeah. After that, it's a consolidation phase or maintenance phase from the point of view of longevity of a fast bowler. So, what does this boy need to do?
Yeah, I think Gavaskar mentioned a couple of days back that he was appalled that he was not selected. He was of the opinion, and how do you select? If you don't select somebody on basis of their first-class performances, how is the selection coming through? Weird that you have the IPL performance probably being considered here. And see, this was Afghanistan. It's a one-off test. You don't have Bumrah. Bumrah has maybe about 2 or 3 years max left in him, right? You don't have a second string of bowlers apart from a Siraj, maybe to a certain extent. Shami is no longer in the picture, or at least not in the good books anymore. So you don't have an out-and-out medium pace swing bowler like Nabi right now in the team, right? And I think in places like England or these kind of bowlers are very useful, like the mid 130s. He's also a decent bat, Nabi. He's had a good lower order season as well. So could be worth trying him, definitely.
He reminds me a lot of Bhuvneshwar Kumar in his prime.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. There was a lot of Bhuvneshwar in him. He's not. I think he bowled 135.
Yeah, 135. And just does enough. So, dimag bahut hai bande mein. So, and there's nothing like watching a good pace bowler bowl. Apart from maybe a leg spinner.
Hopefully. Yeah. But coming to people who like Auqib still has a chance. There are some of the cricketers whose boat has sailed without them even getting into the boat, right? So any names that come to your mind who obviously were almost there but never got him?
Actually, Shanti, on this subject, I've been kind of obsessed with this since I read Gavaskar's Idols, which must have been like, sometime in the mid 80s or so.
Yeah.
Like, that was, I think, the first cricket book that I read. And like, these are days like, when there was too much cricket on television, apart from the odd test series that would be covered. One day internationals were hardly there as such. So like, your source of information for cricket was only the newspaper, Sports Star, and the other sports magazines that would come. And like, and of course, the books that you would, look forward to. And I think Gavaskar was quite prolific at that point of time. There was Sunny Days, there was Idols, Runs and Ruins later on that. In Idols, he spoke about two bowlers. He spoke about a legendary person called Padmakar Shivalkar. Mind you, like, I have not seen Padmakar Shivalkar play at all. Even though, like, I think he retired from domestic cricket sometime towards the late 80s or so. But still, like, I never got to see him. I only read about him. And like, he was supposed to be like the ultimate tease who would dangle the ball and beat the batsman in flight, or like, make it just turn slightly enough to get the outside edge, or like, get an LBW. The other bowler who comes to mind, strangely again, is Rajinder Goel from Haryana. And like, both of these are supposed to be gods of domestic cricket. Their careers overlapped. They had fairly longish tenures, maybe like 2 decades, 3 decades or so. But again, what happened to them was that their career lifespan coincided with the great spin quartet. So like, when there is a Bishan Singh Bedi, when Prasanna is there, when Chandrasekhar is there, when Venkat is there, it was very difficult for any other bowler, spin bowler, to come into the ranks. So like, all I've only read about these gentlemen. I've never watched them, like I said. But like, early memories, they tend to, stick in your head. So these are the two people who come to mind immediately. Did you see Padmakar Shivalkar?
I was just coming to that. So, for those who know, I lived my life in Shivaji Park, born in Shivaji Park, played at Shivaji Park. Paddy, as everyone called him, Padmakar Paddy Shivalkar, was a legend. He was actually the original demon bowler. People hated playing against Paddy, simply because, he had the accuracy of a baby. And the guile of a Erapalli Prasanna, right? And he just could bowl all day. I mean, because being in Shivaji Park and having played at the Shivaji Park Gymkhana, I have heard stories of Paddy Shivalkar. Like, one of the stories was to the extent that, I think Gulab Rai Ramchand had to pull him out of bowling one day, simply because the other bowlers complained saying that hum log ko bowling nahi mil rahi, literally. Paddy he would start at 9 in the morning and he'd probably go until 9:30 in the evening, and he'd bowl the exact same spot, ball after ball after ball. It was incredibly difficult to score off. Not a huge turner of the ball, but incredible control. I distinctly remember once I was sitting to watch a game at Shivaji Park Gymkhana, and there were these different cricketers there, Sunil and Kolas of the world were there, and they were all discussing Padmakar at that time. So there is this, the Kanga League that is played, right? Kanga League is played during monsoons in Bombay. And the wickets are sticky as hell, right? They're sticky dogs. Most of the scores are in the range of 70 all out, 80 all out, right? Okay. It's super difficult to anyone to score 20 on those pitches. Shivalkar would get teams out for 11, 12, 13, right? Wow. He'd take 8 wickets for 9, 7 wickets for 5. Incredibly difficult bowler to pick to play, and the best part is I did get to watch him in an exhibition game. This was in 83, if I remember, 83 or 84. I was about 8 years old. My dad took me to watch the game, and he said that this person, Padmakar Shivalkar, is a Bombay legend. Paddy would have been probably in his 60s at that time, if I'm not mistaken, and he bowled 3 overs. I don't think they got a run out of him in those 3 overs. And he refused to let the ball again. It was an exhibition game, so only 3 overs per bowler, and he just kept bowling. So they gave him another over, because everyone was saying, we've come here to watch Padmakar Shivalkar bowl. So he was the Tendulkar before Tendulkar happened. I mean, Shivaji Park is known for its batting, but there were three bowlers at that time. One was him, one was another really good leg spinner called Subhash Gupte, who played for India again. In fact, Sobers always said that he was the best bowler he ever played against. And then there was a guy called Arun Diwadkar, if I'm not mistaken. He was an off spinner. So Diwadkar, Shivalkar, and Gupte, they were the trio of the 70s Bombay team, really. An incredible team again. You had Gavaskar in the team, Vaibhav later in the team. So I mean, Paddy was a legend, no doubt about it.
It's an interesting bit of trivia about Shivalkar. It seems he finally retired at the age of 47. And in his last match, he had a 46 over spell.
Yeah. He was long. He would, like I said, he would bowl. If he played tests for India, he would probably be bowling all 5 days. Like there's some batsmen who have batted all of a test match. He'd probably be the first to bowl all 5 days of a test match.
So, like how unique is that? Like a 46 over spell means that he bowled the entire day.
Yeah. Absolutely. So, I mean, not their fault technically, but I think India really could have done with a bowler like Shivalkar. Unfortunately, he was up against Bedi, and Bedi's position was not going to go so easily. So, if I were to be controversial here and a hot take here, in my book, he was better than Bedi. I think what differed was probably Bedi was more of a India man. He was larger than life, and he had that captaincy material. He was a more aggro player. Shivalkar tended to be more of a bowler. He was more a captain's bowler. So a quieter gentleman in that sense. So I think maybe that went against him as well.
Yeah. About Rajinder Goel, incidentally, I think his record of some 637 wickets in Ranji Trophy still stands as the highest number of wickets taken in Ranji. So,
he must have beaten Shivalkar to it, because Shivalkar had about 580 or something wickets, 580, 550 odd. So Goel is definitely the highest wicket taker. You're right.
Like Gavaskar used to call Rajinder Goel the smiling assassin. And I remember from Idols, he used words to the effect that if there was any bowler whom he dreaded playing, it was Rajinder Goel.
Yeah, must be. Absolutely. I mean, another person we have heard a lot about. Any other cricketers that spring to mind? Of course, Shivalkar is a big name.
More recent examples, of course, in the conversation before we started recording, you referred to this gentleman as God. So the God of not having made it, of being on the sidelines.
Patron saint for people who didn't make it.
So the person we'll be talking about is Amol Muzumdar. So interesting bit of trivia here again. When Sachin and Kamli were making their 646 run world record partnership at that point of time in the Harris Shield, Amol Muzumdar was the guy who was padded up to come and bat in next. And he waited for 2 days. His turn never came. And
exactly.
He must have been, 16 years old at that point of time?
Yeah.
And that became the model of his story.
Correct. I mean, again, privileged to have watched Amol bat at Shivaji Park. So, classic batsman. I mean, he, again, a more Dravid kind of batsman. Like somebody who wasn't very flamboyant, but had the classical strokes and the patience and the temperament to stay on crease. Again, I think he came at an era like Shivalkar had the quartet of bowlers at that time. Muzumdar had the quartet of batsmen at that time, right? So he had the Tendulkar, Ganguly, Lakshman, and Dravid to contend with.
And then later on Sehwag. So
yeah, correct. Sehwag later. I mean, before Sehwag went to opening, but similar story to Shivalkar, right? The four guys obstructed him there. The 4 guys obstructed this guy here. Again, I think Muzumdar, there's a similarity between Muzumdar and Shivalkar again. Not the a team man, but not a very like a larger than life personality. To a large extent, I think cricket is also about the swag. Cricket is also about the kind of in Bombay. There's this when we played in Bombay, it's always about that aura of a person, right? So Gavaskar had that aura, Vaibhav had that aura, Tendulkar had that aura, Kamli to a certain extent had that aura. Rohit Sharma later when he came, he had that aura. Muzumdar didn't have that, though he was a damn good batsman. People didn't speak about him in the same breath as they did, say, a Kamli or Tendulkar, or even an Agarkar, for example. Even Agarkar had that aura, oddly. So we never heard much about him in Shivaji Park, but he was always there as a guy who was solid, who would get you the runs, middle order pack, really good bat. Again, very Manjrekar mold, Dravid kind of mold of a batsman, slower player. But I'm surprised that he never made it to the India team. I mean, the guy who came much later, Wasim Jafar, played a lot for India as an opener.
True.
In fact, there was a suggestion at one time that Muzumdar should go and open because that was probably the spot that was available at that time. Before India got Sehwag, we were seeing a lot of chopping and change. You had, Das who opened for India, and there was Sadgopan Ramesh. All those guys came in and went out. But he refused. He said, "No, I'm not going to be good as an opener, and my place is the middle order." And he never got me because of that.
True. In fact, whenever come across an unfair situation in life, or I think that something unfair is happening to me, I tell myself, say that to Amol Muzumdar in my head.
What's an unusual connection between Amol Muzumdar and Shah Rukh Khan of Chak De India? Kabir Khan, as his name was.
Second coming of Amol Muzumdar. He goes on to lift the World Cup as as coach of the Indian women's cricket team.
Exactly. So last year, if you remember that his comeuppance, like Dravid has had a moment with the T20 team. Muzumdar has his moment with the Indian women's team. At least there was some. It was good to see him back in the news and getting his moment under the sun. Very well deserved as well, because he was also a very good tactician.
Absolutely.
I think people don't realize in the 80s, Tendulkar, Kamli didn't play much for Bombay. So he was the glue in which the Bombay team depended on. He was also a very good captain when he captained. He was the guy who used Sairaj Bahutulne, Ramesh Pawar very well. They became a really interesting spin team at that time. So a lot of the 80s, 90s victories of Bombay are really Muzumdar's, really, to a large extent. So, any other names? I think there's one player you mentioned from Delhi, a batsman.
Yeah, his story is similar to that of Amol Muzumdar, which is in terms of his second avatar. The gentleman in question is Mithun Manhas, who is now the president of the BCCI. So, again, a player who was supposed to be exceptionally good. He played for Delhi in domestic cricket from the late 90s to the 2000s. Incredible batsman, middle order bat, scored almost 10,000 runs at a average which was mid 40s, 45, 46 kind of average. Century hitter, double century hit, 50 hitter on call. So exceptionally good batsman, but never got to play for India. Might have seen him in IPL towards the end of his career, but again, couldn't get an India look because of the Indian batting order being what it was at that point of time. Now he's the guy calling the shots. He's the chairman of the BCCI. Sorry, not the chairman, the president of the BCCI. So hopefully, he'll take a leaf from his own book and try to do something about players who haven't quite been able to make it.
Well, I guess if people like Shivalkar and Muzumdar and Rajinder Goel, Mithun Manhas, if they were there today, they'd probably get a chance because these days it's fashionable to have a second 11 being sent to play against the minnows. So you do see a second team or a third team going out to play Zimbabwe or Afghanistan or whatever, right? So unfortunately, in those days, you had to get into the 15 squad or 11 finally, and it was very difficult. These days, with IPL, they're sending 3 or 4 teams out. What do you think?
I think it's a lot tougher now. Like, you look at Sarfaraz Khan. Poor chap.
Yeah.
Like, after such fantastic domestic performances, 2 years of trying at the national level, gotten a look sometimes, discarded at times, like he's still struggling to find a spot. Like Rajat Patidar, he's leading RCB to its second IPL final. He's not even in the consideration for any of the formats of Indian cricket. Jaiswal is not part of the one.
Oh, Jaiswal, look at Jaiswal. I mean, he could have walked into any team and he's just sitting there, right?
Exactly.
That's the sad part of Indian cricket right now. We're spoiled for riches today. I think you put the third side the third best Indian side in an international tournament, they might end up winning it, right? Or reaching the finals at least. So many good players thanks to IPL, I guess, to a large extent.
There's one thing, cricket is such a juggernaut in India that, if you're involved with cricket as a player, even if you do exceptionally well and you're not able to make it to the national team, it provides plenty of other opportunities for you to be associated with the game.
Absolutely.
We spoke about Muzumdar, we spoke about Mithun Manhas. Take Sitanshu Kotak, for example.
Very good team.
He was Gujarat's captain. If I heard this in commentary, that if anyone has a problem with his batting, the person to approach is Sitanshu. Because the guy only thinks batting, So he understands the world through batting.
Correct. Very, very true. Actually, it's a little unusual here, but if you see the players who have had the most Ranji Trophy runs, right? Let's look from a batsman's perspective. So if you go down the list, you have Wasim Jafar, who's the highest. After that, there is Paras Dogra. Okay, he's never played for India. Amol Muzumdar, never played for India. Devendra Bundela, never played for India. Mithun Manhas, never played for India. Faiz Fazal, never played for India. Right? So look at the kind of dichotomy, right? The highest, the 6 or 7 of the top Ranji Trophy scorers of all time haven't played. We'll end this episode on the guy who everyone's talking about, right? Vaibhav Sooryavanshi. When does this boy debut?
He should debut now.
Right now.
I know it will be a little...
if you were to...
It will be a little politically difficult because the captain of the team happens to be the opening batsman. And there are others in the reckoning also, which is like Abhishek Sharma, Sanju Samson, Jaiswal. Make all those guys play around this chap.
Yeah.
Is what I would think.
If you put your crystal ball gaze ahead, do you think this guy will have a long career for India?
It will be unfair to say anything at this point of time because, the chap is still developing, both in terms of skill and in terms of temperament. He has shown a tendency to go either way. There were some instances of him playing the World Cup and in a match against Pakistan, he was very unusually aggressive and borderline abusive. And then I contrast that with the first time I saw this chap play. He gets that 100 and he's absolutely unfazed. He just raises his bat and tips his bat to the helmet. Yeah. That showed me that this guy is got it temperamentally. He seems to have his head on his shoulders. But then a lot has happened to him over the past 1 year or so. So this chap needs to be saved from the limelight as much as he deserves the limelight.
Correct. I just hope he has a similar career to a similarly named Amitabh movie called Sooryavansham, which has been playing for the longest time on Indian television. So if he goes as long as Sooryavansham, then Sooryavanshi has a very, very bright career ahead of him. All puns intended with sons and Sooryavanshis. But yeah, fantastic. Let's end this episode on this note. And maybe let's do a IPL episode once the IPL gets over on Sunday. Let's see what it holds for the future.
Inshallah.
Inshallah.